Little Steps, Limitless Change, The Art of Micro-Transformations, read and published by Mr. Books. Life is a tapestry woven from the threads of countless choices, some monumental, but most nearly invisible at first glance. We often believe that meaningful transformation requires grand gestures, sudden upheavals, or overnight metamorphosis. Yet profound and sustainable change rarely arrives in a rush. Instead, it is gently cultivated through the steady application of tiny, intentional steps, micro-actions that over time accumulate into powerful results. This book invites you to journey deep into the world of micro-actions. Here you'll discover the subtle art of leveraging small, consistent steps to fuel significant personal growth, career advancement, or healing. Whether you are hoping to break free from old patterns, build new habits, or simply feel more satisfied and whole in your daily existence, you're in the right place. Why focus on small steps? Because they are doable. They almost never provoke the paralyzing resistance or fear that larger, life-altering changes can, making them an accessible entry point for anyone. A small step is not a shortcut, but rather a foundation, an intentional act that opens the door for more. Tiny actions build confidence, momentum, and self-compassion, reducing overwhelm and transforming daunting visions into achievable realities. Within these pages, you'll find a blend of thoughtful insights, practical strategies, and gentle encouragement. You'll explore how the compound effect can turn minor efforts into major progress. You will learn why celebrating baby steps lowers resistance and makes hard things easier. You'll discover ways to harness the present, your true power zone, while tracking progress without inviting stress or self-judgment. Setbacks will be reimagined as stepping stones instead of obstacles. Mindset work will illuminate the mental habits that sustain change, while small shifts in perspective open the door to significant life transformation. Finally, the rituals and routines you craft each day will become your quiet superpower, steadily moving you toward your dreams. Whatever the change you seek, big or small, it's my hope that this book will be your companion and guide, helping you see that each step, no matter how tiny, matters deeply. Together, let's embark upon a journey, letting small steps lead us to big changes and a life transformed, one gentle action at a time. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button to support the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an audiobook that could change your life. Now let's begin. Enjoy. Chapter 1. The Power of Tiny Actions. Every significant achievement starts with a single, small step. The world often glorifies big moments, dramatic breakthroughs, sudden changes, visible successes, yet beneath these grand peaks lies a foundation built on tiny, nearly invisible efforts. It is in these small actions that true transformation is seeded. Let's consider the analogy of planting a tree. When you drop a tiny seed into fertile soil, it's easy to dismiss its potential. The seed seems insignificant and the process slow, yet with steady nurturing, a little water, a little sunlight, it takes root, sprouting quietly below the surface. Over time, that seed becomes a strong, towering tree, sheltering birds and offering shade. Every step, from root to leaf, is built from tiny actions. Our lives follow a similar trajectory. Whether you aim to develop a new skill, cultivate healthier habits, or recover from adversity, you'll find that progress begins with micro-actions. Instead of running a marathon, you put on your shoes and walk around the block. Instead of writing a novel, you pen a paragraph. Instead of changing your entire routine overnight, you shift your wake-up time by 5 minutes. Tiny actions are powerful, not just because they are manageable, but because they build a scaffold for larger change. They offer an antidote to overwhelm. Rather than staring down a mountain, you focus on the next step and then the next. Each step, however small, propels you forward and accumulates into genuine progress. Why do small actions have such a profound impact? For starters, they lower the resistance to beginning. It's easy to procrastinate on a big task, but nearly impossible to argue with doing something that takes 2 minutes. Habits are more easily anchored when you start with less. These little actions bypass the brain's resistance to change, helping you form new pathways, one brick at a time. Scientific research supports the power of micro-actions. B.J. Fogg's Tiny Habits method demonstrates how making habits minuscule, flossing a single tooth, doing one push-up, sending a quick email, creates a repeatable pattern that evolves into more significant outcomes. These actions are accessible and sustainable. Over time, consistency breeds familiarity, which fosters identity change. You become the kind of person who takes action. Moreover, small actions shape your sense of agency and confidence. Each time you complete a micro-action, you experience a win. Your brain rewards success with dopamine, encouraging you to repeat the behavior. This positive feedback loop creates momentum. Imagine facing a daunting project, launching a business, writing a book, mastering a language. The immensity paralyzes many, leaving dreams unfinished and goals unattained. But by slicing the process into bite-sized actions, researching one resource, writing for 10 minutes, learning 10 new words, you transform the impossible into the achievable. Tiny actions are not just about ease. They're about building a foundation for exponential growth. Like interest in a savings account, these efforts compound over time. Day by day, the changes add up, and the results surprise even the most skeptical. You look back and realize you've scaled mountains one step at a time. In this chapter, we've explored why tiny actions matter, both psychologically and practically. In the chapters to follow, we'll examine how small wins build motivation, how myths of rapid transformation derail us, and how the mechanics of habit can shift your approach forever. For now, remember this: your power to change lies not in Herculean feats, but in humble, persistent steps. Start small, persist, marvel at where you arrive. Chapter 2. Why small wins matter more than big goals. We're taught to dream big, set ambitious goals, envision spectacular results, chase after grand achievements. While big goals certainly inspire us, it's the small wins along the way that truly drive transformation. The psychology of progress is nuanced. When you aim for a lofty target, losing 50 pounds, saving thousands of dollars, becoming fluent in a new language, it can feel distant and unattainable. The chasm between where you are and where you wish to be breeds frustration and self-doubt. Yet every big goal is composed of countless small wins, milestones that, when acknowledged, sustain your energy and enthusiasm. Small wins are psychologically powerful because they help your brain mark progress and create motivation. Harvard researcher Teresa Amabile found that tracking tiny successes during creative work keeps people engaged and performing at their best. The satisfaction doesn't just come from the finish line. It comes from every step taken toward it. Imagine a runner training for a marathon. The daily jog, the completed run despite rainy weather, the first pain-free mile, all are small wins. Each success generates a dose of pride and encouragement, fueling the next effort. Big goals, by contrast, can sometimes become obstacles. If you focus exclusively on the outcome, setbacks and delays can erode your confidence. The journey feels endless. Motivation falters. But when you celebrate small wins, logging your meals, finishing a workout, meditating for 5 minutes, you continually refresh your drive. Each milestone is a signal you're moving forward. Progress begets progress. Small wins remind you that change is happening. They offer evidence that your efforts matter and create a narrative of growth. When you record these wins in a journal or celebrate with friends, you reinforce your identity as someone who acts and succeeds. There is a science behind why this works. Neuroscience tells us that success, even in tiny forms, provides a dopamine boost. This reward not only feels good, but helps wire new behaviors in your brain. Over time, you become more likely to sustain positive habits and pursue further wins. Small wins also foster resilience. When you encounter obstacles, missed days, setbacks, slow progress, the experience of past wins reminds you that you're capable of succeeding again. Each small victory builds a foundation of confidence and provides practical insight, helping you adjust your process. In organizations, leaders who recognize and celebrate small wins cultivate cultures of growth and perseverance. Team members feel valued for their incremental contributions and remain engaged. In relationships, partners who appreciate each other's tiny positive gestures build intimacy and trust. To implement the power of small wins in your life, begin by breaking large goals into micro goals. If you aim to write a book, set daily writing targets. If you wish to improve your health, honor every day you exercise, no matter how brief. Keep a log of your wins and revisit them when you need encouragement. Remember, big goals give you direction, but small wins give you momentum. Every achievement, however minor, is a stepping stone. When stacked together, they form the bridge to meaningful transformation. Honoring your progress isn't about lowering your standards, it's about elevating your journey. Small wins matter, not just because they propel you forward, but because they help you see yourself as a capable, evolving individual. Every celebration is a whisper, you're on your way. Chapter 3. Breaking the myth of overnight success. The allure of overnight success is everywhere. Viral stories, rags to riches tales, breathtaking transformations. Social media, news outlets, and biographies all seem to echo the same narrative. Success arrives quickly and effortlessly, as if by magic. But beneath the dazzling surface, the reality is far different. The myth of overnight success is not only misleading, it's often destructive. When we believe that change should happen immediately, we set ourselves up for disappointment and self-criticism. We ignore the hours, months, and sometimes years of small steps, setbacks, and gradual growth that precede every big moment. Let's examine some icons of success. J.K. Rowling struggled for years, faced dozens of rejections, and wrote the first Harry Potter book in cafes while raising her child. It was the accumulation of small, persistent actions, writing paragraphs, editing chapters, sending queries, that built her triumph. The headline of overnight success is built atop a foundation of invisible effort. Consider entrepreneurs who launch thriving companies, musicians who headline concerts, and athletes who win championships. Their victories are celebrated, but the grind is often hidden. The daily workouts, the failed prototypes, the late-night rehearsals, these are the true engine of achievement. Why does this myth persist? For starters, it sells. The human brain is drawn to simplicity and drama. Stories with clear beginnings and climactic endings. The media condenses years of toil into punchy headlines, reinforcing the illusion. Unfortunately, believing in overnight success has a demoralizing effect. When your own progress stalls or moves slowly, you may wonder what's wrong with you. You feel inadequate compared to the rapid ascent of others. You may quit before the compounding of your efforts has a chance to work. The truth is that meaningful change is almost always gradual. Progress sneaks in through repetition, learning, and correction. Small, consistent actions build skills, self-belief, and opportunities. Most successful people spend years laying the groundwork for their breakthrough moments. Understanding this frees you from the pressure of immediacy. You develop patience and endurance, focusing on process rather than outcome. Embracing this reality helps you find satisfaction in the journey, encouraging you to persist through the quieter seasons of growth. One particularly harmful side effect of the overnight success myth is the neglect of learning and resilience. When you accept that success is a slow climb, you naturally become more open to feedback, more willing to experiment, and less fearful of failure. You learn to appreciate the richness of the journey, not just the destination. To counter the myth, start by tracking your micro actions. Write down your efforts, your experiments, your reflections. Celebrate the days you move forward even by an inch. Share your journey with trusted friends or communities who understand the reality of incremental progress. Remember that what looks like a sudden transformation is often disguised persistence. Every impressive accomplishment is a mosaic of tiny, unseen actions. This awareness allows you to honor your own progress, nurture patience, and keep moving, even when it feels slow. The slow path is not the weak path. It is the surest way to genuine transformation. Stop measuring yourself against the myth. Measure yourself against your own effort. Progress, not perfection, is the true story behind every success. Chapter 4. The Science of Habit Formation. Habits are the silent architects of our lives. They shape our days, influence our responses, and determine whether we move toward our goals or drift away from them. Understanding how habits form and how tiny actions can harness this process is crucial for lasting change. At the heart of habit formation is neuroscience. Every habit is built through a cycle known as the habit loop: cue, routine, reward. A cue is a trigger: time, emotion, place. The routine is your behavior, and the reward is the benefit you receive, a feeling of accomplishment, relaxation, or pleasure. Over time, repeating this loop strengthens neural pathways, making the behavior automatic. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, emphasizes that small changes are not just easier, but also more effective for habit building. When you start with a tiny action, one push-up, reading one page, drinking a glass of water, you lower the barrier to entry. The simplicity makes it easy to start and repeat, laying the foundation for deeper changes. The magic of tiny actions lies in their stickiness. Rather than launching ambitious new routines that require enormous willpower, micro-actions slip seamlessly into your day. For example, placing your vitamins next to your coffee mug or setting out your workout clothes at night nudges you toward healthy behaviors with minimal effort. Habit research shows that repetition is key. The more often you repeat the behavior, the more ingrained it becomes. This means that success is not about intensity, but frequency. Tiny actions done daily rewire your brain. The habit loop becomes smoother and more automatic over time. Crucially, rewards, no matter how small, fuel habit formation. Every time you complete a micro-action and feel satisfied, you reinforce the loop. Practicing self-compassion and celebrating wins, even minor ones, creates the emotional reward necessary for habits to stick. Let's look at keystone habits, those small behaviors that set off a chain reaction of positive change. For instance, making your bed every morning may boost your sense of order, leading to better organization, increased productivity, and even healthier decisions. Drinking water before meals can prompt more mindful eating and improved wellness. When building new habits, it's vital to focus on consistency over perfection. Missed days are normal. What matters is returning to your routine, allowing yourself flexibility and maintaining your tiny actions, even when the rest of your day unravels, builds resilience and self-trust. Technology can support habit formation. Use reminders, habit tracking apps, or visual cues to prompt your actions. Sharing your progress with a friend or group can keep you accountable and inspired. Finally, adopt a growth mindset. View your habits as experiments, not as rigid obligations. Every attempt teaches you something: what works, what doesn't, and what could be improved. The journey of habit formation is one of learning and self-discovery. In summary, tiny actions are powerful because they align with the innate mechanics of your brain. Small, consistent acts linked to cues and rewards gradually transform your identity and your outcomes. By mastering the science of habit formation, you unlock the potential for lasting transformation, one micro-action at a time. Chapter 5. How consistency beats motivation. Motivation is like a spark, bright, enthusiastic, but often fleeting. Consistency, on the other hand, is the steady flame that ignites transformation and keeps it burning over time. While motivation can get you started, it's consistency that carries you through the setbacks and doldrums. It's common to wait for motivation before acting. I'll exercise when I feel energized. I'll start my project when inspiration strikes. Yet relying on motivation is risky. It ebbs and flows, influenced by mood, stress, and circumstances. Change sticks when it's anchored in regular practice, not in bursts of passion. Consistency is not glamorous. It rarely makes headlines, but it is the most reliable driver of progress. When you show up day after day, regardless of how you feel, you reinforce your commitment and move steadily toward your goals. This builds self-discipline and strengthens your self-belief. The secret to consistency is making it easy. Tiny actions, ones that require minimal effort, are the building blocks of reliable routines. For example, instead of committing to an hour at the gym, you do 10 minutes of stretching. Instead of writing an entire chapter, you compose a few sentences. The simplicity removes excuses and lowers the threshold for action. Habit research supports the power of consistency. Routine repetition, not intensity, forms habits. The brain craves predictability. Every time you perform a behavior in a particular context, you reinforce the neural connections. Over time, the action becomes automatic and less dependent on willpower. Another key is tracking your progress. When you record your actions, you create accountability. Calendars, journals, habit apps all provide visual evidence of your consistency. Seeing a streak grow motivates further action, creating a self-sustaining loop. Consistency also builds resilience. Life will inevitably interrupt your plans: illness, travel, challenging days. If your approach relies on motivation alone, you're likely to stall. But when your actions are simple, repeatable, and ingrained, you can maintain progress even in turbulent times. It helps to view consistency as a form of self-kindness, not self-punishment. By showing up for yourself regularly, you nurture trust and self-respect. You demonstrate day in and day out that you are someone who honors your commitments. In relationships or teams, consistency fosters reliability and trust. People who act predictably are easier to collaborate with. Small, regular gestures, a daily check-in, a weekly note, build bonds that far outlast grand, infrequent demonstrations. Lastly, understand that consistency is cumulative. The effects of tiny actions multiply over time, far exceeding anything achieved through sporadic effort. This is the compound effect in motion, a topic we'll explore further in Chapter 7. In practice, start by identifying your minimum viable action, the smallest step you can guarantee, even on challenging days. Commit to this step regularly. Over time, you'll find that motivation, once elusive, begins to follow consistency. The spark of action creates its own energy. Consistency is the miracle worker of change. It transforms scattered attempts into enduring habits and scattered dreams into tangible reality. Choose the steady flame and watch as your small steps illuminate the path to big change. Chapter 6. Building momentum through micro-progress. Momentum is the quiet engine that drives lasting transformation. It's what turns small actions into bigger accomplishments, accumulating energy and building confidence along the way. Micro-progress, tiny incremental achievements, is the foundation that keeps momentum alive and thriving. Consider the way water erodes stone over years, carving grand canyons through persistent tiny movements. Similarly, micro-progress gradually shifts your life in significant ways. Each small accomplishment builds upon the last, creating an upward spiral of growth. Many people overestimate the value of dramatic effort and underestimate the impact of steady progress. They attempt giant leaps, only to falter when motivation wanes or obstacles appear. By focusing on micro-progress, daily, attainable goals and milestones, change becomes sustainable. One essential advantage of micro-progress is its manageability. It's much easier to move forward when your task is packing a single box, making one healthy meal, or reading a few pages rather than overhauling your entire lifestyle. These small actions bypass overwhelm and lower the resistance to getting started. Momentum builds when you honor and celebrate every bit of progress. Record your wins, no matter how minor. Share them with supportive friends or communities. Tracking your achievements creates a sense of continuity, reminding you that each step forward matters. The process of micro-progress also reduces fear of failure. When the stakes are small, the cost of error is minimal, fostering experimentation and learning. Instead of fearing a major setback, you learn and recover quickly from small missteps, adjusting your approach and refining your strategy. Micro-progress transforms your self-image. Each small win strengthens your belief in your abilities. Over time, you transition from "I'll try" to "I can." The shift is subtle but profound, laying the groundwork for larger ambitions and deeper change. The cumulative nature of micro-progress is where its magic lies. Continuous small steps create compounding benefits, increased skill, greater confidence, broader opportunities. What begins as a minor effort becomes a powerful force. To implement micro-progress, start by breaking your objectives into the smallest possible tasks. Create a daily or weekly progress tracker and set aside time to reflect on your accomplishments. Celebrate completion of each micro-step. Review your log to see how far you've come. When momentum wanes, revisit your micro-goals. Sometimes the journey feels slow and frustration creeps in. But looking back at your progress rekindles hope and motivation. Remember, progress is not linear. Sustained effort, however slow, pushes you forward. Micro-progress also builds resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. By focusing on small, continual improvements, you're much better equipped to recover from disruptions, maintain your momentum, and reposition yourself for further growth. In summary, momentum is created not by big leaps, but by consistent, compounding micro-actions. Trust in the process, honor every step, and watch as micro-progress transforms your daily effort into extraordinary achievements. The gentle flow of micro-actions becomes the unstoppable current of big change. Chapter 7. The Compound Effect. How little becomes much. Transformation at its core is a process, a quiet unfolding. Often, we become entranced by the fantasy of instant change. The person who loses 20 pounds in a month, learns a new skill overnight, or seems to recreate themselves out of thin air. But these stories, while compelling, rarely tell the truth about sustainable growth. Lasting transformation is not built on flashes of effort, but on the accumulation of small, regular actions, compounded day after day, week after week. This is the power of the compound effect, the simple yet profound principle that consistent, tiny actions add up to extraordinary results over time. Just as regular deposits, however small, grow into a substantial savings account. Micro-actions performed with intention create an environment where success becomes inevitable. The mathematics of change. Imagine saving $1 a day. At first, the effort seems trivial, insignificant, a mere drop in an ocean. But $1 per day equals $365 per year. Multiply that by a few years and suddenly the numbers become impressive. The math is simple, but the principle is compelling. Tiny inputs, sustained over time, generate exponential outcomes. The same applies to our habits and behaviors. Suppose you resolve to walk for 10 minutes each morning. In a single day, it's easy to believe this small act won't make much difference. However, over months and years, it not only improves physical health, but also builds discipline, boosts mood, and gradually becomes a cornerstone of your well-being. Micro-actions as seeds of change. Micro-actions carry the unique advantage of being doable. When faced with a towering goal, such as writing a book, learning a language, or improving relationships, the sheer magnitude can incite fear and paralysis. The solution is to shrink the goal to its smallest actionable part. For instance, write a single sentence daily. Practice 10 words of a new language. Speak one kind word to a loved one. These actions may seem inconsequential, yet each is a seed. When tended with care, seeds sprout, grow, and eventually bear fruit. the science behind micro-progress. Researchers in psychology have found that momentum breeds motivation. Each tiny success releases dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, encouraging us to repeat the action, build self-trust, and stretch ourselves further. Small wins foster self-efficacy, helping us believe that we can, in fact, make changes that stick. Moreover, micro-actions downregulate the brain's stress centers. When we tackle manageable steps rather than overwhelming ones, the amygdala is less likely to send out alarm signals. We feel safe, capable, and willing to try again tomorrow. Real-life compound stories. Consider the story of Maya, an aspiring writer who longed to create her first novel. She struggled for years trying to force herself into marathon writing sessions, only to burn out and abandon her dream. When she shifted her focus to writing just 100 words a day, the pressure diminished. Progress felt effortless and meaningful. In less than a year, those tiny sessions became chapters, and chapters became a finished draft. Or think of Carmen, who began her journey toward fitness by doing just 5 push-ups a day. Each day, she added a single rep. The change seemed almost laughable at first, but as the weeks passed, she noticed her strength increasing, her confidence growing, and her willingness to try expanded workouts blossoming. By the end of the year, Carmen's fitness had transformed, built one push-up at a time, living into the compound effect to harness the compound effect in your own life. Begin by asking, what is one small step I can take today towards my goal? Make the action so simple it feels almost absurd. Do it consistently. Celebrate the fact that you showed up, no matter how small the action, over weeks and months. Watch as these tiny ripples gather strength, building into currents that quietly but irreversibly move you closer to the life you desire. Small steps compounded by time become big changes, and that is the secret to lasting transformation. Chapter 8. Overcoming resistance with baby steps. Change is rarely met with open arms, whether it's a new personal goal, a shift in career, or a yearning for healthier habits. The human mind tends to cling to familiarity, preferring the comfort of routines and resisting the discomfort inherent in growth. At its heart, resistance is a protective force, designed to shield us from harm or disappointment. Yet it's often the primary barrier that keeps us from progress. The good news? Resistance loses its formidable power in the face of baby steps. Understanding resistance psychologically. Resistance is multi-layered, fueled by fear of failure, uncertainty, the possibility of discomfort or judgment, and even the subconscious belief that we are unworthy of change. It manifests as procrastination, self-sabotage, or an overwhelming sense of not knowing where to start. Traditional advice suggests pushing through resistance, but brute force often results in burnout or even deeper withdrawal. Instead, a gentler approach, taking baby steps, can melt resistance away and invite you into the flow of action. The baby step philosophy. A baby step is the smallest, easiest move you can make toward a goal, the kind that feels almost too simple. For someone wanting to begin exercising, it could be walking to the mailbox. For an aspiring artist, it might mean sketching for 2 minutes. For those overwhelmed by clutter, it may be clearing just one shelf or one drawer. The brilliance of baby steps lies in their capacity to bypass the brain's alarm system. Because the action is so manageable, the subconscious does not register it as a threat. Motivation is sparked by ease, not force, breaking resistance down. Further, when resistance feels especially high, try this 3-step approach. Divide the goal. Break your dream into its smallest pieces. If writing a book feels daunting, commit to jotting down a single idea, title, or scene, even if it's just a bullet point. Lower the stakes. Remove perfectionism from the equation. Remember, baby steps are about consistency, not quality. Let yourself be a beginner. Celebrate micro wins. Each small action is a victory. Give yourself a moment of acknowledgement. A smile, a journal note, or a small reward. Real stories of baby step success. James, who struggled with morning anxiety, wanted to establish a meditation practice. Rather than aiming for 30 minutes of daily meditation, he began with just 1 minute of mindful breathing each morning. Over time, he increased the duration, found the practice inviting rather than intimidating, and gently rewired his brain from resistance to acceptance. Sarah, challenged by the mess in her home, felt defeated by the idea of getting organized. Instead, she set a timer for 5 minutes and tidied one area. Those 5 minutes grew into 10, then 20. The resistance faded and satisfaction replaced shame. The brain science of baby steps neuroscientists have shown that the brain responds positively to quick, easy wins. Each successful baby step activates the reward circuitry, nurturing motivation and confidence. With repeated success, the brain builds new neural pathways, making change easier over time. Making baby steps your ally, ask yourself, what's the smallest action I can take today towards my goal? Make it so simple you cannot fail, and allow yourself the grace to begin again tomorrow. If resistance arises, shrink the step further. Even 1 minute of effort is enough. Over weeks and months, baby steps build resilience, dissolve fear, and transform resistance into gentle momentum. They are the keys to unlocking the gates of change, slowly but surely, inviting you into a future shaped by kindness, persistence, and hope. Chapter 9. Focus on today. The present is your power zone. Change is often postponed for someday. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I have more time, more energy, more clarity. Yet, the only real moment we possess is now. The present today is our true power zone, the arena where intentions become actions and dreams edge closer to reality. The myth of perfect timing, waiting for the perfect moment to begin, is seductive but destructive. Life will always offer reasons to delay. A busy season, unexpected challenges, or feelings of inadequacy. But all change happens in the present. The future is made, one day at a time, from the choices you make now. Embracing the power of now, science and wisdom agree. Presence is the gateway to transformation. When you focus on today's tiny, achievable actions, you eliminate overwhelm, foster mindfulness, and anchor yourself in reality. This isn't about ignoring long-term goals, but about translating them into daily intentions. Ask yourself, what is one thing, just one, that I can do today toward my goal? The answer is often simple. Drink a glass of water, make a phone call, write a paragraph, step outside for fresh air. Small daily actions, consciously chosen, accumulate into change. The micro-action calendar. Consider creating a micro-action calendar. Each day, note one achievable step related to your larger goal. By focusing on today alone, anxiety about tomorrow fades. You begin to trust yourself to show up, one day at a time. For example, if you're seeking wellness, your calendar might read, Monday, stretch for 5 minutes. Tuesday, prep a healthy snack. Wednesday, express gratitude in a journal. Each action is manageable, and the consistency creates momentum. The ripple effect of daily presence, tiny present moment actions, initiate a ripple effect. Completing today's micro-action builds a sense of accomplishment, boosts confidence, and quietly alters your identity bit by bit. You become someone who acts, not just dreams. For Jasmine, a new entrepreneur, focusing on daily small tasks, sending a networking email, researching suppliers, posting on social media, created a solid foundation for her business. She discovered that momentum built quickly and her vision took shape without force or overwhelm. Letting go of all or nothing, life is rarely linear. There will be days when you can do more and days when you can do less. The key is to honor today's capacity. If your energy is low, allow yourself a smaller step. The practice is in showing up, not in perfection. Mindfulness and micro-actions. Integrating mindfulness into micro-actions amplifies their power. Instead of rushing through your task, slow down and savor it. Notice your feelings, thoughts, and body. Being present makes each action richer and connects you to your deeper why. Building a daily power zone practice. Every morning, reflect, what is my power zone today? What can I do given my time, energy, and needs? Choose one action, commit to it, and celebrate its completion. Over time, present focus becomes a habit, the lens through which your life transforms, step by step. Remember, today is always the right day to begin. Your journey unfolds in the present, one gentle action at a time. Chapter 10. Tracking progress without pressure. Modern life measures achievement relentlessly. Numbers, milestones, checkboxes, and perfection. While tracking progress can motivate, it can also breed pressure, self-criticism, and burnout. To make small steps stick, you need a softer, kinder way to witness your growth. The purpose of tracking: awareness, not judgment. Tracking progress shouldn't be about fault-finding or rigid accountability. Its real power lies in awareness, acknowledging where you are, what's working, and what needs gentle adjustment. This awareness supports continuous improvement, self-compassion, and motivation, gentle methods of tracking rather than setting harsh metrics. Try these gentle options. Journaling micro-actions. At the end of each day, jot down the small steps you took. Focus on effort, not outcome. Visual progress trackers. Use stickers, colored charts, or simple check marks on a calendar to celebrate consistency and show growth visually. Gratitude lists. Include actions you're thankful for, tiny wins, moments of self-kindness or learning from missteps, self-reflection, practices weekly or monthly. Reflect, what small steps did I take? How did they make me feel? What patterns can I celebrate? Where can I offer myself more grace or shift my approach? This reflection is not for criticism, but for gentle curiosity. Redefining success. Success isn't perfection, it's progress. Each tiny effort, each day you showed up matters. Did you drink more water, move a little, offer a kind word, or take a quiet moment for yourself? These are victories worth honoring. For Sam, who struggled with chronic procrastination, tracking her daily micro-efforts through a victory jar, where she dropped a bead for every completed action, helped her internalize progress. No pressure, just gentle acknowledgement. Ditching comparison, your pace is your own. Avoid comparing your progress to others. Everyone's journey is unique. Instead, look at where you started and celebrate the direction you're moving. Embracing flexibility. Life is unpredictable. Flexibility is essential. If you miss a day or step, let it go. Resume tomorrow. Tracking is about observing, not punishing. Building your tracking ritual. Create a ritual that feels joyful. A cup of tea while journaling, a sticker on a calendar, a gratitude note before bed. Make tracking an act of self-love. Conclusion: the kind path to progress. When you track gently, you build resilience, create self-awareness, and lay foundations for lasting change without the heavy burden of pressure. Witness your growth with kindness and let every small step become fuel for the journey ahead. Chapter 11. Turning setbacks into learning steps. Setbacks, failures, and detours are inevitable on the path to change. Their presence need not signal defeat. Instead, they are invaluable teachers, offering wisdom, refinement, and resilience. The journey of transformation is not about avoiding setbacks, but learning to stand up gently, gather insight, and move forward. Embracing setbacks as feedback. When a small step doesn't land as planned, a skipped workout, a missed writing session, a moment of doubt, it's easy to succumb to discouragement. But each setback holds a message. Rather than viewing mistakes as evidence of inadequacy, see them as feedback. What happened? What can I learn? How can I adjust my next step so it fits my life more naturally? Reframing the narrative. Change your internal story. Setbacks are not failures, but learning steps. Millions of remarkable journeys contain moments of faltering, recalibrating, and restarting. Reframing the narrative reduces shame and builds courage. For example, when Marcus missed several days of studying a new language, he felt defeated. Upon reflection, he realized he needed to choose smaller, more enjoyable practice methods. This shift led to renewed motivation and progress. The science of resilience research shows that resilience is built not in the avoidance of mistakes, but in the willingness to learn and adapt. When setbacks are treated as puzzles rather than punishments, the brain becomes more flexible. The stress response diminishes, creativity increases, and growth accelerates. Embracing self-compassion, treat yourself as you would a friend. Offer words of encouragement, forgiveness, and support. Self-compassion transforms setbacks from sources of shame to opportunities for grace. A simple practice. After a setback, write yourself a note of understanding. It's okay. You're learning, growing, and trying your best. What gentle thing can you do next? Micro-actions. After setbacks. After a misstep, the best antidote is a micro-action, a small step to re-engage with the journey. Even a few minutes or a tiny gesture helps reclaim momentum. Fiona, after missing her daily walk, simply stretched for 1 minute. The act was tiny, but it renewed her commitment. Progress resumed. Celebrating recovery, honor your moments of recovery. When you bounce back or learn from a mistake, celebrate, not the error, but your courage to continue. Building your setback ritual. After setbacks, pause, reflect. Celebrate learning. Choose a gentle next step. Over time, these rituals build your resilience muscles, making change sustainable despite challenges. Chapter 12. The role of mindset in sustaining change. Mindset, the frame through which you interpret and respond to life, holds unparalleled sway over transformation. It defines how you approach setbacks, celebrate wins, and commit to the journey of change. A growth-oriented, compassionate mindset is the fuel that keeps micro-actions burning long after the initial spark fades. Fixed versus growth. Mindset psychologist Carol Dweck identifies 2 key mindsets. Fixed mindset, belief that abilities and traits are static. Mistakes are evidence of failure. Growth mindset, trust that abilities can be developed. Mistakes are opportunities for learning. Sustainable change grows from the latter. When you believe your efforts matter, every micro-action becomes meaningful. Cultivating growth. Through small steps, micro-actions work in harmony with a growth mindset. They invite you to practice, learn, and adapt without demanding perfection. Consider Jane, who saw herself as not creative. By taking daily micro-actions in doodling, she shifted her mindset. Each tiny effort revealed new skills and possibilities. She no longer judged herself but welcomed growth. Mindset renewal rituals. Begin each day with a mindset affirmation. I am growing, learning, and changing step by step. Write it down. Say it aloud. Let yourself embody progress, not perfection. Pair mindset practices with micro-actions. After each small win, remind yourself, this is evidence I'm able to change. Overcoming limiting beliefs. List your limiting beliefs, e.g., I am not disciplined, I always fail. For each, craft a gentle counterbelief. I am learning discipline through small actions. I am resilient after setbacks. Every micro-action disproves self-doubt. Celebrate your courage to show up. The science behind mindset research finds that mindset shapes brain plasticity, your ability to form new habits, skills, and thoughts. When you practice growth-oriented beliefs and micro-actions together, change becomes easier, faster, and more joyful. Mindset. During difficult seasons, in tough times, mindset matters most. When motivation wanes, reconnect with the growth perspective. Allow yourself to rest. Restart with a micro-action when ready. Building your mindset. Toolkit affirmations. Daily reminders of growth. Journaling. Reflect on learning, not just outcomes. Support circles. Surround yourself with mindset-oriented peers. Chapter 13, Harnessing the Power of Daily Rituals. Daily rituals are the anchors of change. They are the intentional routines, chosen and repeated, that gently shape the course of your day and, over time, your life. Though small in their moment-to-moment presence, Rituals hold the power to transform habits, foster well-being, and create joy. Think about the comfort you feel sipping morning tea, or the sense of focus that comes from writing a brief intention for the day. Rituals are more than automated actions. They are conscious acts infused with meaning. Unlike habits, which can be mindless, rituals invite you to be present and deliberate. Maria, facing stress and burnout, felt adrift until she instituted bedtime rituals, turning off screens an hour before sleep, reading for 10 minutes, and reflecting on one thing she appreciated about her day. Not only did her sleep improve, but she found herself carrying a sense of tranquility into the following day. Maria's life was not overhauled overnight. Instead, it was reshaped one gentle evening ritual at a time. To harness the power of daily rituals, start small. Ask yourself, what parts of your day feel hurried or stressful? Where might a short, intentional routine provide comfort or structure? Here are some ideas. Morning intention. Begin your day with 5 minutes of silence or journaling. Gratitude. Pause. Before lunch, note 3 things you appreciate. Evening wind down, light a candle. Stretch gently or read a calming passage. Consistency is key. The goal is not to create elaborate routines that exhaust or overwhelm, but to choose acts that nurture and energize. As you repeat these rituals, they become woven into the fabric of daily life, grounding you in presence and purpose. Rituals can also serve as boundary markers, helping you transition from one part of the day to another. For example, a brief walk after work can signal the shift from professional to personal time, supporting balance. Family and group rituals strengthen bonds. Shared meals, weekly check-ins, or even a collective walk instill a sense of connection and belonging. Over time, rituals accumulate, transforming dull days into fulfilling ones and scattered routines into a symphony of intentional living. By choosing to show up for yourself each day, even in small ways, you steadily unlock the lasting power of micro-actions. Embrace the possibilities. Let your daily rituals become the gentle, unwavering steps that shape a life filled with meaning, warmth, and steady transformation. Chapter 14, Replacing Perfectionism with Progress. Perfectionism is seductive, promising flawless outcomes and praise. Yet beneath its allure lies a noisy critic, berating even the most genuine effort and rendering forward movement nearly impossible. The solution: replace the chase for perfection with the satisfaction found in progress. When you focus on ongoing growth rather than unattainable ideals, everything changes. Progress celebrates what you do, not what you should have done. Suddenly, you permit yourself to try, to experiment, even to fail, knowing each attempt is a valuable step forward. Lucy, a musician, was crippled by perfectionism. She'd revise a song so relentlessly that she rarely finished one. But by reframing her effort, valuing a completed piece over the flawless one, she found joy in creating again. Her output increased. She saw improvement, not because she forced excellence, but because she allowed herself to progress. Progress is powered by small steps. Each micro-action, no matter how unfinished or uneven, paves the path for future effort. Celebrate the completed draft, the first sketch, the initial workout. These steps matter, and they accumulate more value than years spent planning or self-criticizing. Let go of all or nothing thinking. It's common to believe, if I can't do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. Yet every imperfect action is a seed for learning, growth, and self-compassion. Invite curiosity into your process. What can you learn from today's effort? Try progress tracking. Keep a journal documenting not what went wrong, but what moved you forward. Visualize the journey as a spiral, always ascending with each loop. Surround yourself with voices that celebrate progress. Share your wins, however slight, with a friend or group. Choose mentors who value practice and process over unattainable standards. If you notice perfectionist tendencies, pause and breathe. Remind yourself, it's okay to be in progress. Over time, this gentle affirmation will quiet the inner critic, amplifying the voice of encouragement. progress builds a foundation of resilience. You train yourself to show up regardless of outcome, finding satisfaction in the participation rather than just the praise. In turn, you discover the joy of living, creating, and loving with greater fullness. Replace perfectionism, not with lower expectations, but with a higher appreciation of steady movement. Every imperfect step is a triumph. Progress is the true measure of transformation. Chapter 15. How to stay patient in a fast-paced world. In a society that prizes speed and instant results, patience can feel like a relic, a luxury few can afford. Yet the greatest changes, the most meaningful lives, are built not in haste, but in the gentle unfolding of time. Learning to stay patient amidst the rush is perhaps the ultimate micro-action. Patience is not passive. It's an active choice, a daily commitment to your journey, your values, and your growth. It means recognizing that every step, no matter its pace, matters. Helen, a young teacher, often felt frazzled by the never-ending demands of life. She longed for rapid transformation, both in her career and personal growth. However, the torrents of quick-fix solutions left her feeling empty. Through journaling and mindfulness, Helen began valuing slow progress. She celebrated the small improvements in her students and the incremental shifts in her teaching style. Over time, Helen's patience gave her strength, joy, and resilience that urgent effort never could. How can you cultivate patience in your own life? Begin by acknowledging your impulses. Notice the pressure to speed up, to demand immediate results. In these moments, return to your breath, grounding yourself in the present. Visual reminders, such as a favorite quote or peaceful image on your desk, can be touchstones. Develop mindfulness practices. Brief meditations or regular check-ins help you slow down, appreciate the moment, and reset expectations. Embrace the long view of your goals. Write down your desired outcomes, then break them into micro-actions. Trust that each small step contributes to the larger transformation, even if it takes time. Surround yourself with patience. Spend time with those who value process over speed. Read stories of slow success, where years of gentle persistence created brilliance. Patience also means accepting setbacks, detours, and pauses as part of the journey. Resist the urge to compare your timeline to others. Every path is unique, and speed is rarely the best indicator of lasting change. Ultimately, patience isn't about waiting. It's about trusting. Trust yourself, your intentions, and the subtle momentum of daily effort. Allow yourself to grow slowly, celebrating each gentle step. In a world that races, be the one who savors, knowing that small, patient actions are the ones that build the greatest changes. Chapter 16. Small acts of kindness, big impact on others. Kindness is often misunderstood as incidental, but its effects are profound and far from accidental. Have you ever witnessed how a single, thoughtful gesture, a handwritten note holding a door open, remembering someone's coffee order, can shift a mood or even a day? Small acts of kindness have the remarkable power to create ripples of transformation that extend far beyond their initial intention. Imagine a world where kindness is the default currency. Studies show random acts of kindness boost well-being, not only for those receiving them, but for those who perform them. Psychologists have found that altruism lights up areas of the brain associated with happiness, proving, quite literally, that it feels good to be good. In schools, kindness has been shown to reduce bullying and promote inclusivity. In workplaces, kindness leads to stronger collaboration, enhanced morale, and greater loyalty. But why do small acts have such big impacts? It's simple. The act of kindness is more than an outward gesture. It's a signal that someone matters. When you take a moment to listen, offer encouragement, or extend help, you validate the receiver's existence and acknowledge their place in the world. Consider Emily, a nurse who began bringing extra snacks for her colleagues during long shifts. The gesture was simple, but it quickly became a lifeline for her exhausted team. They felt cared for, and this improved teamwork, reduced tension, and even decreased absenteeism. Through Emily's small steps, the work environment transformed. You don't need to orchestrate grand gestures. Start with eye contact, a smile exchanged on a morning commute. Offer genuine gratitude. Say thank you and mean it. Listen intently, allowing others to feel heard in a world of distractions. Such acts may seem insignificant, yet they often become the highlight of someone's day. Small acts of kindness have a sacred role in healing wounds, building bridges, and fostering resilience. In neighborhoods, leaving a note of encouragement for a struggling neighbor can create a chain reaction of goodwill. In families, positive words during times of tension can shift entire dynamics. As we move through life with intention, let these small acts remind us of our interconnectedness. Every gesture, no matter how modest, reinforces the notion that positivity is an active choice. Little acts accumulate, soon forming a culture of care and belonging. If you long for change, be it in your life, your community, or the world, begin with kindness. The path may appear slow, but trust its pace. Kindness doesn't fade. It multiplies, outlasting the moment. By choosing the gentle power of small acts, you nurture transformation not only in others, but within your own heart. Let every step be a spark. Let your kindness redefine what's possible. Chapter 17, Creating Systems that Support Tiny Steps. Transformation is fueled not just by willpower, but by the systems that cradle daily micro-actions. If you've ever tried to change a habit, you know, motivation wanes, life distracts, obstacles arise. This is where systems, thoughtfully structured supports, become vital. Systems are the invisible scaffolding that empower tiny steps. They remove friction, making desired behaviors simple, repeatable, and almost automatic. When you create systems, you build a framework where change is more likely, not because you are more disciplined, but because you've made the path easier to walk. Let's begin with habits. Implementing a new habit, like drinking more water, falters if every glass requires a conscious decision. But place water bottles everywhere you spend time. You've created a system that adapts the environment to support your goal. The easier it becomes to act, the likelier you are to succeed. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, emphasizes that you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Systems are not restrictive. They are liberating. Freeing your mind from constant decision-making, reducing stress, and increasing confidence that progress is being made. Consider Sarah, a busy entrepreneur who struggled to find time for exercise. By setting out her workout clothes the night before and scheduling brief 10-minute sessions instead of sweeping plans, she created a reliable system for movement. The change didn't arrive overnight. Instead, it grew one accessible workout at a time. Technology can be an ally. Calendar alerts, habit trackers, and reminder apps gently nudge you towards desired behavior. But systems aren't only digital, they're physical, social, and emotional. Social systems, like accountability partners or community challenges, provide built-in encouragement and support. Ask yourself, what barriers exist between you and the small step you want to take? How might you remove them? If clutter keeps you from journaling, keep your notebook on your pillow. If you forget to stretch, pair stretches with an existing routine, perhaps right after brushing your teeth. Systems also thrive on positive reinforcement. Visual trackers like sticker charts or progress logs let you see your advancement, offering motivation. The simpler the system, the more likely it will endure. In sum, transformation is rarely accidental or sudden. It is a series of tiny, intentional steps supported by systems designed for ease and repetition. When you craft these supports, you lower the hurdle, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Over time, you'll find the journey less daunting and more delightful, as each micro-action nests effortlessly into the rhythm of your life. Chapter 18, Celebrating Progress, Rewarding the Journey. In the pursuit of change, it's easy to fixate on destinations, goals reached, milestones conquered, transformations completed. But transformation is not one lightning moment. It's a series of ongoing micro-victories. Celebrating progress, no matter how small, is essential. It's how you reward the journey and sustain motivation along the way. There's deep wisdom in recognizing the power of celebration. Neuroscience reveals that when we feel rewarded, our brains release dopamine, which motivates us to repeat the behavior that led to the win. In practice, this means that every well done, every tiny celebration becomes a catalyst for future growth. But what does it look like to genuinely celebrate small wins? It's personal. For some, it's a quiet moment to reflect with gratitude. For others, it's sharing the achievement with loved ones. For you, it might be marking progress in a journal, enjoying your favorite treat, or simply uttering, "I did it." Consider the story of Mark, who wanted to read more. Instead of waiting until he finished a book to celebrate, he acknowledged himself every time he read 10 pages. The sense of accomplishment made reading joyful, and soon he was a consistent reader. The journey became a string of celebrations, not a slog toward an end. When you break a goal into micro-actions, every step is a moment worth honoring. Finished your morning stretch? Celebrate. Sent a kind note? Pause and appreciate your effort. The act of celebrating brings intention to the present, marking the steps that once seemed invisible. Celebration isn't just for individuals. In teams and families, acknowledging even incremental progress creates momentum and builds trust. When everyone is recognized for their efforts, the group feels inspired to keep moving together toward a shared vision. Yet, sometimes we hesitate to celebrate too soon or too small. The inner critic argues that it's not enough. This kind of self-talk diminishes motivation and makes the journey harder. Instead, make it a habit to honor all progress, trusting that every step is worthy. Create rituals of celebration, cheer for yourself in the mirror, text a friend to share your win, or keep a jar where you place notes about your successes. These visible reminders make it easier to see how far you've come. Long-lasting transformation starts with recognizing that every step counts. Celebration fuels resilience and joy, making the process of change less daunting and far more gratifying. Let every win, no matter its size, be proof of your ambition and self-love. Ultimately, it's the celebration of progress that turns the journey itself into a reward. Chapter 19, A Life Transformed, Living Proof that small steps matter. Stories are the heartbeat of transformation. While advice is powerful, seeing real lives change through small steps is even more inspiring. Each person's journey, every tiny decision, persistent micro-action, and gentle shift serves as living proof that transformation is not a myth, but a daily reality for those willing to embrace incremental growth. Meet Jason, who for years felt stuck in a rut of low energy and self-doubt. Grand resolutions came and went, each fizzling out under pressure. Yet one year, he tried something different. He committed to walking for 5 minutes each morning. On some days, 5 minutes was all he could muster, but he rarely missed a step. Over months, his confidence grew. 5 minutes became 10, and soon he was jogging regularly. Friends noticed his buoyant outlook. Jason credits those initial micro-actions for crystallizing a belief. Small steps do add up. Take Natalie, whose struggle with anxiety made daily life overwhelming. Seeking dramatic fixes wasn't sustainable, but choosing to write 3 positive statements each night was. After a year, Natalie noticed a profound shift. Her mind defaulted more toward gratitude than fear, changing the way she approached challenges. Her micro-action became a daily anchor, a lifeline, and eventually the foundation for lasting well-being. Transformation rarely appears as a single thunderbolt. Instead, it unfolds as a series of rain showers, gentle, steady, nourishing. The stories of people like Jason and Natalie remind us that lasting change is within reach for everyone, regardless of challenges or starting points. The common element? Commitment to small steps. Small steps also build trust in oneself. When you consistently show up, even in tiny ways, you prove to yourself that you are capable, worthy of investing in your own happiness and growth. It's this accumulation of self-trust that becomes resilience in the face of setbacks and uncertainty. Communities are transformed by this principle too. Walk through any thriving neighborhood, and you'll find that the bonds of friendship, civic engagement, and collective pride are built day by day. Handshake by handshake, neighborly wave by neighborly wave. What small step could change your life? Perhaps a 5-minute breathing exercise, a polite hello to the new colleague, or allocating 10 minutes daily to learn a skill. The scale is unimportant. The commitment is everything. Lasting transformation isn't about perfection, speed, or spectacle. It's about perseverance, compassion, and the willingness to start where you are. These stories are proof. Let them inspire you to begin, continue, and celebrate the gentle miracle of change, one small step at a time. Chapter 20. Small shifts in thinking, big shifts in life. If our actions are the seeds of change, then our thoughts are the fertile soil in which they grow. Look beneath any transformation, and you'll find not just outward change, but shifts within, the subtle but powerful evolution of mindset. Much of what limits us originates in our beliefs. I can't do this. It's too late. Small steps aren't enough. But if you choose to challenge these narratives, even gently, you plant the seeds for big shifts in life. Psychology calls this cognitive reframing, actively changing your perspective to unlock new possibilities. Take the common fear of failure. Instead of seeing it as proof of inadequacy, what if you viewed it as evidence of effort, even as a teacher? By reframing failure as feedback, you open yourself to learning and growth rather than self-criticism. Jill, for instance, struggled to ask for help, fearing it showed weakness. She practiced a small shift. Every time she needed support, she told herself, "Seeking help shows courage." Repeating this thought transformed her behavior over time. Not only did Jill begin to reach out more often, but she found that her relationships deepened, and she felt less isolated. Another powerful shift is recognizing the value of process over outcome. Instead of obsessing over where you want to end up, honor the process, the learning, the daily efforts, the resilience built along the way. This mindset makes each moment meaningful and cultivates patience. Gratitude, too, is a profound shift. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you direct your attention to what's present. Research shows gratitude increases optimism, lowers stress, and boosts overall well-being. Spend a few moments daily noting what you're thankful for and what's your perception of life in large. How do you create these shifts? Start small. Try tracking negative self-talk for a day, then counter each thought with a kinder perspective. Use affirmations such as, "My small steps are powerful," or "I am growing every day." The act of repeating these statements, even if they feel foreign at first, helps rewrite ingrained patterns. Support systems help here too. Surround yourself with those who encourage positive reframing. Read inspiring books, listen to uplifting podcasts, and seek conversations that leave you feeling seen and valued. Remember, mindset shifts don't demand sudden leaps. They thrive on small, daily repetitions, tiny tweaks in thinking that, with time, become your new default setting. The biggest outside changes often spring from the smallest inside shifts. Celebrate every gentle reframe. Each is a stepping stone toward a bigger, brighter life. Your thoughts have immense power. Tend them carefully, and you'll find that the world transforms in response to the way you choose to see it. If you found this video helpful, inspiring, or entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on future content. Your support means the world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.